Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, January 8, 2025, and tonight I'll be talking about AEW Dynamite. Alright, so let's talk about Kenny Omega's return. So tonight was a grand return of Kenny Omega. He actually returned this past weekend in New Japan when he fought against Gabe Kidd, but this was his grand return to Dynamite. It's been advertised since last week that he was returning tonight. So he comes out and he cuts this promo, and I have to say, like, these images of Kenny Omega are just like badass. And see, this is just a really cool shot. But anywho, so he starts talking about his promo and about how he doesn't want to, like, this is a new version of him who's not concerned with money, power, or revenge, and he's interrupted by the Don Callis. Well, by Don Callis. I was going to say Don Callis, but it's more like Don Callis. And then, like, Brian Cage, Lance Archer, and Kyle Fletcher all attack Kenny Omega. And who comes to save him? Will Ospreay comes to save him. He comes down swinging with a chair. And then they have this moment where they just stare at each other. See, there's Will Ospreay with the chair, and it's Kenny Omega, and they're just kind of just staring at each other. So they did tease a moment at World's End, I should say, with Omega and Okada. So now they're teasing Ospreay and Omega. So it's got two interesting matchups here. But what are you guys looking forward to the most? Kenny versus Okada or Ospreay versus Omega? Let me know in the live chat what option you guys are looking forward to. But yeah, this basically closed Dynamite. And it seems like they're not doing the whole Kenny Omega versus the Elite. Honestly, that's the route they should have gone, in my opinion, because, like, the Elite took them out. I mean, I get why they also did Don Callis, because, Don Callis betrayed him. So that makes sense, too. But, anywho, that is how Dynamite went off the air with Kenny Okada. It's been like 8 years since they last fought. Okay, yeah, Kenny Okada, I can do that. Especially because Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega already fought in AEW. So I feel like Kenny Okada would be a logical choice. But yeah, so what did you guys think of Kenny Omega's grand return? Are you guys excited that Kenny Omega's back? Let me know in the live chat in the comment section down below. Alright, so speaking of Will Ospreay, tonight's Dynamite actually kicked off with Will Ospreay versus Buddy Matthews. This was actually a great opening contest, and I honestly would not mind seeing this match again or seeing a part 2. Will Ospreay was victorious after he did the Styles Clash and the Hidden Blade to Buddy Matthews. And at the end, Will Ospreay pretty much put Buddy Matthews over on the microphone. He tells the crowd to give it up for Buddy. He accidentally says Buddy Murphy, which is his old WWE name, but, he corrects himself to Buddy Matthews. And he was talking about how he admired him from afar. And that he says something interesting. He says that him and Brody King don't need to be following a leader, which we obviously know he's talking about Malachi Black. Now, according to Fightful Select, Malachi Black may very well be finishing up with AEW. On this week's episode of Dynamite, Will Ospreay defeated Buddy Matthews and encouraged him to step out of the shadow of Malachi Black. This led to much inquiry regarding Malachi Black's status in AEW. Those that we spoke to in the company were of the belief that he was finishing up with AEW if he hadn't already. They do not clarify if he'd be appearing on TV again. To be clear, we can't say definite that Black's contract is up or that an option has been declined, picked up, or anything transactional. He's still listed on the official AEW website and is booked for match at CCW on January 11th. So definitely something to think about. Let me see. Excited he's back. He's been solely missed on the roster. AEW isn't the same to me without Kenny in action. Okay. So that's interesting that he would say that, and that report comes out about Malachi Black. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the House of Black. But I honestly think that Brody King and Buddy Matthews can carry on as a tag team. And so then Will Ospreay even says that he sees tag gold or singles gold in Buddy's future if he works hard. And that if he ever needs a man in his corner, he is this guy and he bullshit can. So obviously, Will Ospreay put him over. But that line about Malachi Black, I still think that was very telling. All right. So next we get a private party segment. And they're out there celebrating because they were on a tag team title match that was featured on both HBO Max and TNT. And they're interrupted by the Hurt Syndicate. And the Hurt Syndicate basically makes it known that they want those tag titles. And I feel like that match is going to happen sooner rather than later. Maybe at Revolution, he's going to have Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley versus Private Party for those tag titles. And it seems like that's what they're leading to. So this leads into Bobby Lashley versus Mark Briscoe. This is okay, Bobby Lashley won with the Hurt Lock. And then at the end, the Hurt Syndicate attacked Mark Briscoe. And Private Party come down with chairs to help Mark. So we have to wait and see. But, I don't know if MVP is going to wrestle or if he's strictly going to be a manager. But, if he were to wrestle, I could see them doing the 6-man tag. Private Party, Mark Briscoe versus the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. But so far, it seems like MVP is probably just going to be a manager for them. But this is okay. We get the Casino Gauntlet match, and honestly, this was a really fun match, if you ask me. It's so weird for it being a Casino Gauntlet match that they completely abandoned the casino gimmick. Because I remember the first few casino matches that they had they were divided in groups by by card. So they had the clubs, the spades, the hearts, the diamonds, and then the joker. So that was fun. I'm not sure why they abandoned that gauntlet completely, but this was actually a really fun match. I really like the fact that it started off with Hangman Adam Page and Jay White, considering they have history in there. Jay White has beaten Hangman twice now in AEW, so this was good. And then they threw in their wheelies. I think my favorite part of this match was when Ricochet came out. Well, we didn't know it was Ricochet. It said Who's House, and it played Swerve Strickland's theme song. And even Hangman was just like, what? He was shocked. He was shocked. That was just based on his reaction here alone. But then when he realized it was Ricochet, he was like, really? Really? So I thought that was pretty funny that Ricochet trolled Hangman. He trolled the crowd and stuff like that. So that was pretty hilarious. Then you had Daniel Garcia, you had Adam Cole, baby, you had Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Powerhouse Hobbs here. And during this match, you had Lance Archer. You had a moment, a stare down between Lance Archer and Powerhouse Hobbs. And you even had Double J Jeff Jarrett in here. Now, I have to say, Powerhouse Hobbs was victorious after he hit the Spinebuster to Kyle O'Reilly. And at the end, after he was interviewed, he said that John Moxley brought him to AEW, but he plans to shock the world and make Moxley his bitch. So I have to say, and I said this last week, I don't think this Casino Gauntlet match mattered because whoever faces John Moxley is obviously going to lose because there's no way John Moxley is losing in Cincinnati, Ohio, of all places. But I feel like this might be great for Powerhouse Hobbs, but like really Powerhouse Hobbs, like he lost to Konosuke Takeshita, and now he's getting the chance to challenge Jon Moxley. But like I said, I guess it really doesn't matter because they're going to lose to Jon Moxley. Now I'm hoping Powerhouse Hobbs has a great showing in this match, but I don't think. But he's obviously not going to win here. So Jeff Jarrett cuts a promo. And he's basically talking about how he asked himself, does he still have what it takes to climb the mountain? Now, he made it known last week that he wants the AEW World title, and he's signed his potential last contract here. He gets interrupted by MJF, which was an interesting choice. He talks about how he wants his Triple B and how Dictator John has his belt. Again, like Dictator John is obviously a reference to their first encounter when MJF was doing the whole political campaign gimmick and stuff like that. So basically the whole point of this is like MJF was talking about how he wants to offer his assistance and his help to Double J and helping him become world champion. But he makes it known that if he helps him become world champion, he gets first shot at the AEW World title. Now, Jeff Jarrett calls MJF a one-hit wonder, which is funny because, I think they were in Nashville, which is like music capital and stuff like that. So, but Jeff Jarrett basically makes it clear that he doesn't need MJF. So, I'm not sure what they were trying to go with this way. We're going to have a Jeff Jarrett MJF feud temporarily while they both try to make their way back to the title picture. Now, I will say, in this segment, MJF reveals that Jeff Jarrett only signed a contract for 1 year. So he basically has a year to become world champion. So again, I'm not sure where they're going to go with this. Like MJF and Jeff Jarrett, that's not something I imagined. Maybe we may get a match out of this, considering what happened during this segment, but we'll have to wait and see. Certainly going to be an interesting matchup, to say the least. Okay. So next we get the rated R superstar Cope. And he's basically calling out the Death Riders here because he talks about how they took out Bryan Danielson and Darby Allin, but they made a big mistake going after FTR since, they're friends. Finish the story, Double J, LL, right? Right? I don't know if I could see him getting the title opportunity. I don't know if he'll win. It just really depends on who's world champion by then. So, like, Adam Copeland mentions that he broke his neck in a match against Eddie Guerrero. He fought Malachi Black in a barbed wire steel cage match. And basically said that there's nothing Jon Moxley can do to him that hasn't been done before. The Death Riders come out, FTR comes out, and then Powerhouse Hobbs comes out, and, the Death Riders basically run off. So, Powerhouse Hobbs step into Jon Moxley. Again, like, they literally have to build him up to make him like this threat to Jon Moxley, but with such a short window, I don't think that's going to happen. We have to wait and see. Like I said, I hope he just has a great showing against Jon Moxley. We get a Mariah May segment, and basically, it's going to be her versus Harley Cameron on Collision in a non-title match. I have to say, like, Harley Cameron may not be the most popular wrestler amongst people, but I personally like Harley Cameron. I think she's actually pretty funny, and she's a great singer. She did the song to my favorite women's tag team, The Inspiration. If you haven't listened to The Inspiration by Harley Cameron, I highly suggest you go check it out. It's actually a really good song, really catchy. I like it. Only The Inspiration was still wrestling, though. All right. So next we get a 3-way women's match. It's Toni Storm versus Kris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale. The winner will enter the women's casino match at number 1. So I thought this was an interesting dynamic here because, obviously there's history between Kris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. But this is a good match. Kris Statlander was victorious after she hit Saturday Night Fever to Toni Storm. So the winner of the women's casino match gets a title opportunity at Grand Slam. So it wouldn't surprise me at all, especially if Toni Storm wins this. Now, she does have an interview after this where she says that she's not surprised she didn't win. She wasn't ready, but that it was an honor to be out there with Kris, Statlander, and Willow, and then it can be Toni time all the time. And that's pretty much the last thing I'm going to talk about, because after that's the Kenny Omega stuff. But it would not surprise me if they run back Mariah May versus Toni Storm at AEW Grand Slam in Australia. I mean, Toni Storm is from the Gold Coast, Australia. It would make the most sense. I was shocked to see Stat win. Thought Toni would win. Yeah, I was shocked too. But it's just to enter number 1 in the casino match. So wouldn't surprise me if Toni Storm is in that casino match. She's just not number 1. So again, like Toni Storm and true. The Toni Storm Mariah May story leading up to All In was really great. And I have a strong feeling Toni Storm is going to win, so they can do Mariah May versus Toni Storm 2 at AEW Grand Slam. That's what I think is going to happen here. But overall, I thought this was a pretty decent match. Now, I'm hoping that for this Casino Gauntlet match, I would like the old gimmick back. The clubs, the spades, the clovers, and the Joker. I thought that was a really cool concept, but we'll have to wait and see. I think Ty Mello comes back. I know she was training for an in-ring return, so I think she might come back next week during this casino match. Maybe Saraya might be in it too. We'll have to wait and see. But I definitely do think Ty Mello would come back. So, I am kind of disappointed we didn't get the debut of Speedball Mike Bailey. I felt like the Gauntlet, and the men's one would have been a great opportunity for him to debut, and he did it. But overall, on a scale from 1 to Sean Spears' perfect 10, I thought this was a pretty decent Dynamite. I mean, I really did like the opening match with Will Ospreay and Buddy Matthews. I didn't really care for Bobby Lashley and Mark Briscoe, though. The Casino Gauntlet match was pretty good. Jeff Jarrett and MJF, that was kind of an interesting segment. And then I did like the women's match. So, and the Kenny Omega match. So, I'd give this a 7 out of 10. I thought overall it was a pretty decent Dynamite here. Alrighty. So, with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a video. And if you guys like TNA, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow on Body Slam as me and Bert talk about TNA. If not, I'll see you guys back here Friday after Friday Night SmackDown. Bye.